mother simply kissed her son, and he met his grandmother right there. The confused boy reached out to test his mother, only to discover that a simple touch with his finger revived her. He suspected he possessed the power to bring people back to life. But the next day, as he was leaving, his mother accidentally bumped into him again and was once again given a box lunch. The boy decided to use his superpowers again, but this time, his mother never woke up. Only then did he realize that if a resurrected person touched him again, they would die forever. The boy, unwilling to see death again, rarely used his power until one day, his beloved puppy was hit by a car. He touched the puppy with his finger, and a faint light flashed, and the puppy instantly came back to life. When he grew up, the boy became a pastry chef, occasionally using his gift to restore rotten fruit to its freshness. However, one day, while he was taking out the trash, the body of a deceased criminal unexpectedly fell on him, and the criminal suddenly revived. To prevent the criminal from continuing his evil deeds, the boy had to touch him again, turning him back into a corpse. This scene happened to be witnessed by a detective on the roof. The detective decided to use the boy's ability to solve the case, and under his persuasion, the boy joined the detective's team. Their cooperation was simple. The boy would only need to revive the deceased for 1 minute, help find the murderer, and then return the deceased to his dead state. For this cooperation, the boy would receive a generous reward. But soon after, the detective suddenly received a peculiar case. A golden retriever was accused of killing its owner. This was completely unreasonable. The dog had always been docile and obedient, but despite this, the dog was accused of murder and was to be executed in 2 weeks. The deceased's family refused to believe the dog was the murderer, so they commissioned the detective, who brought the boy to the morgue. After learning the truth from the victim, he resurrected it, allowing him to solve the case at lightning speed and instantly make a killing. But he never imagined that the victim of this case would be his childhood crush, which was a bit daunting. He hoped the detective would give him some time alone with his childhood friend, so that if he touched him, he would be resurrected. Because the detective only allowed him to revive the deceased for 1 minute at a time, he didn't have time to reminisce. Instead, he dared to ask his childhood friend who had killed him. However, his childhood friend knew nothing about this. He only knew that his room key had fallen into the ice machine that night, and when he tried to pick it up, someone suddenly put a plastic bag over it and strangled him to death. It could be said that his death was completely unclear. Since he couldn't get any information out of him, Jack couldn't help but reminisce about his childhood friend's past, vaguely remembering that his first kiss was with him. Upon hearing this, his friend said that since that was the case, he might as well give him his last kiss. But Jack couldn't stop him no matter what, because if he touched him, he would die again. You might think he didn't want to kiss him, but Jack had an ulterior motive. He wanted to break the rules and prevent his childhood friend from dying again. To conceal his identity, Jack had him lie back in the coffin, saying he would find a way to release him soon. Jack then emerged, but he was sweating profusely, and his left eye was twitching, so the detective quickly noticed something was wrong. However, the detective didn't think much of it and left immediately. Just as Jack was about to release his childhood friend, he discovered that he had disappeared. The funeral procession was preparing to bury him in the cemetery. Jack was stunned by the scene before him. At this time, his childhood friend in the coffin was still thinking about planning his second life, unaware that he was about to be buried alive. But just as the workers were digging a hole for him, Jack took the opportunity to set their car on fire. The workers rushed to rescue him, and Jack successfully rescued his childhood friend. In this way, the two successfully returned to Jack's home. During the conversation, it was discovered that his childhood friend had actually always had a crush on Jack. But the bad thing was that Jack couldn't touch him. Jack had no choice but to sleep on the sofa at night. The most uncomfortable thing was loving each other but not being able to hug. Soon the next day, Jack confessed to the detective that he had not allowed his childhood friend to die again. The detective made an exception for him and did not blame him. However, he now had to avoid certain acquaintances at all times to avoid being caught and studied. In this way, Xiaohei became their tool. For example, when the two wanted to hug, Xiaohei would hug Annie on Jack's behalf. When they wanted to hold hands, they would hold each other's hands, as if the other was holding them.